Begin CBS2 News at 11 with breaking news. We have a new fire that's broken out, this time in Rialto, southwest of the amphitheater in Glen Helen.
Now that fire is burning about 90 miles away from the Woolsey fire that has gotten most of our attention this week. Stu Medell is live in Sky 2 with the very latest on this Rialto fire. Stu.
Well, extremely high winds. You can see how that fast that smoke is moving right there, and huge flames. And what's right across the street? Homes, an entire community. This is happening, like you said, in Rialto. What we're showing you right there is Lytle Creek. That road that we've been talking about, that is going to be Riverside Drive. And then you can see a number of homes out here. Now, the fire department's been out here. They've been working to get these flames in check. Right now, the only kind of good news is the bulk of the fire has been moving away from the neighborhood. Right here at this intersection of Amberwood and Riverside Drive, there was a palm tree. It's still kind of going, but believe me, this is only a portion of what was happening earlier on. You can see those embers, how quickly they're moving off of that tree, blowing right into that neighborhood. Now, the fire department, they've been actually on the roof of this house right there, the one directly there, but there's trees out here as well. So they're keeping a very close eye on what's going on inside that neighborhood. Across the street, an empty lot with a lot of grass earlier on. This was on fire as well. Firefighters putting water on that, just on that brush area right there, to keep those flames in check. Where's the fire going, though? It's making its way basically down south. What's there to burn? Well, it's an old abandoned creek area. That actually is Lytle Creek. Right now, that creek bed's been dry for some time. A concrete factory, that's going to be the next thing that's down there. But right now, the flames seem to be slowing down because they don't have that much more to burn. Fire department here on scene. They're working to do what they can to keep these flames in check. As it stands, no houses burned. A couple may have had some minor damage, but you can see right there, dozers just starting to make their way over there in the creek bed. That's what they're going to be using to stop these flames.
Hey.
Live in Sky 2 over Rialto. Stu Medell.
So, Stu, how far would you say that one house where you saw the palm tree or the pole burning is from the closest fire? In other words, how far did those embers travel?
Those embers moved. Actually, if you see the road right there, Jeff, that where that police car is, that's going to be Riverside Drive, and you can see those embers right there. We're assuming that this was an area that was covered with some sort of grass. Those flames basically got rid of all the vegetation on that roadside. So there must have been a wall of fire right next to all of these homes. That one palm tree, that's the only thing that we can see that really was causing a problem. Those prawns still throwing out embers across that neighborhood, and you can see just a little bit hitting that one rooftop right there. Now, firefighters, they actually had ladders. Oh, you can kind of still see it. It is very dark, but there's actually a ladder in the backyard. Firefighters were up on that rooftop just keeping an eye on it, but you can see how the winds just carrying those embers into that neighborhood. Lots of trees out here as well. Rooftops, they might be a little bit more fire preventive, but trees, they're going to be just as dry as all the vegetation out here. That's what they're keeping an eye on. You can see a fire truck actually making its way into that cul-de-sac, just keeping an eye on the direction of those embers to make sure nothing catches fire in this neighborhood.
So, Stu, you're saying if you pan out again to show us the picture of those bulldozers out there, that's, up to the upper right. Would you say they are there? Maybe they would start a backfire to try to help and cut off that fire that's burning right there?
Oh, they're not going to do any kind of backfire operations with those dozers, but what they are going to do is try to cut a line out there, basically a way to stop that fire. So we might actually see them work their way over and try to dump some dirt on some of these big hot spots right there. Right now, though, this is the only activity we've seen to really try to stop this brush fire. These high winds, very difficult to get ahead of those flames, and we haven't seen any helicopters out here dropping water. Now, that might be because of the high winds, and also we know in those high winds, they'd have to be very low to make those water drops effective. A lot of that will just dissipate in those winds. We're talking extremely high winds. Sky 2 this evening getting really buffeted around. When we came around the corner over here around the mountainside, we really started to feel these winds. It's coming down through the pass out here, and they're basically creating that wind tunnel. And you can see just that smoke, Jeff. Check it out. These flames really moving.
Exactly. Now, Stu, well, the Cajon Pass is its whole new animal. I mean, could you pull out for us, though, because we see that fire line right there that you're on, but then as you pull out wider and wider, there's a huge space between that fire line and the fire up, I guess it would be to the south,
right hand,
to the right side of your frame. So do we think embers ignited that fire to the upper part of your frame?
It looks like a long way.
It's all this whole area was all burned right here. All this area is burned.
So that burned out.
Where you can see all those. Yeah, all those speckles right there, that was all vegetation at one time. This was a huge fire. We could see it from about 26 miles away. We really could see where it was, but it was really, really moving. The wind was really pushing it along out there, and you can see down there they're still working to get that palm tree out. But right now there's still kind of some embers blowing around down there, getting up on the rooftops. These firefighters been working to keep that house safe. This is the only spot that really seems to be right now, which really seems to be a problem for firefighters. They just don't want anything in this neighborhood to catch fire. But you've got to imagine what this was like earlier on when that fire was just ripping down this roadside out here, where you see all that, all those little embers in the road, or on the, on the side of the road right there. This was all a giant wall of fire as all this vegetation was burning so quickly right next to this community.
Okay, well, the good thing is there's not much left to burn. That blackness that we're looking at out there. And I don't know, Stu, you're talking about that bulldozer out there. I mean, it looks so small compared to how large those flames were in terms of it just trying to throw dirt on those flames out there. So, yeah, you see that? Wow. Yeah. It looks tiny in comparison.
So the Cajon Pass, Garth, that's just like a funnel, right, for wind coming down out of the pass.
What we're getting at the surface out there right now is sustained winds at around 16 miles an hour, and you're getting gusts up to 25, 26, 30 miles an hour. Some gusts at some of the peaks at around 40 miles an hour. So we've lost the high wind warnings out to the area. Actually, there aren't even wind advisories right now, but we're picking them up at the surface enough to drag it along, and that's when you get those gusts into the mid-20s up to 30, 35 miles an hour that will come through the area then. The humidity, poor recovery, but we are doing a little better than we were yesterday. So we're at about 17% humidity into the area there. You can see the drag offshore around this anywhere between 6 down towards Riverside, below the Cajon Pass at around 17 miles an hour. Devore doing it at around 15 miles an hour, but you'll get those gusts to kind of drive it a little bit farther. There's not a whole lot driving it down to the surface where Stu is. I assume Stu's probably at 1,500 feet or so. Obviously, he's picking up much more wind there. You get 20 to 40 feet above, you can add another 10 miles an hour onto some of the winds that are happening into this area right now. So that's where it does continue to blow. The wind event is coming to an end. We're getting these gusts through the overnight period tonight, through the early morning tomorrow, but it just trips under wind advisory levels, which would be 40 to 45 miles an hour, but it doesn't take much. You get a 30, 35 mile an hour gust. That's enough to throw stuff all over through the area there. So we'll have a full check of the weather coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks for that, Garth. Well, 90 miles away from the Rialto Fire that we've been talking about. Let's go back up to Stu Mundell. So you heard Garth talking about the wind. Stu, where are you? About 1,500 feet up?
Oh, no, and this one we're a little bit lower than that, but we're definitely feeling these winds for sure. I can tell you, Brendan's flying the helicopter today, and when we came around that corner, we started getting buffeted pretty hard. You could really hear the engine whining as it's trying to keep that steady RPM. Right now, though, these flames, actually, unbelievably, this is kind of a much less fire activity. The rate of spread has really kind of dropped down. Yeah. You can see maybe that you can see a lot of the brush down there lower than what we're seeing right here. That might be one of the reasons why it's moving a little bit slower. But all these hot embers that are out here, these high winds, even if they knock down the bulk of that fire that we're seeing right there, all those hot spots, all those embers, if the winds really keep kicking up like this, they have a lot of places to blow to and a lot of other brush in the area. These firefighters really have still have a fight on their hands, even though the bulk of the fire seems to have really kind of slowed down. Right now, though, you can see firefighters in the neighborhood. You can see first responders. We see some law enforcement down there as well. We haven't heard the words of evacuations, and I don't think they will do that because right now there are no homes on fire out there, but I'm sure the police department keeping an eye on the roadway, keeping it closed. I can tell you there's a command post just up the street out here on Riverside Drive. There's that command post, and you can see a number of law enforcement along with the fire department right now, probably trying to put together a plan, what they're going to do, how they're going to keep this area safe, and if evacuations have to take place, how they're going to evacuate this neighborhood. This is going to be right off of Riverside Drive out here in the Rialto area. What you're seeing in the darkness right there, that's going to be Lytle Creek. Up to the north is going to be the 15 freeway, and the 215 is going to be more out to the west.
You know what, Stu? Can we go back, Brendan, to the right top-hand side of our screen where the bulldozer is? Well, look what's happened. That fire, it's practically out. It's certainly, they've done some great work out there because it's really smaller than when we just looked at just moments ago when we tossed to you.
Well, a lot of this is actually just burning itself out, and thank goodness it's not catching and keeping moving along out here. It must have been something with the terrain, and it was just a bad situation. The way the terrain was set up and the fact that we had some fire and then those high winds, it just basically pushed it along very quickly. Those two dozers out there, they're doing what they can to cut that line to keep these flames from passing this one spot, and that's basically what they can do right now on the ground. You don't see a lot of the firefighters right now making their way with hose lines out onto this area because they're concerned with structure protection. As soon as they can establish the fact that those homes are safe, we might see some firefighters actually making their way out there, just basically hitting all these hot spots. That active fire, though, that's closer to the actual Lytle Creek itself, this part's still very, very dangerous with that type of fire, these type of winds, and the fact that it's dry, the spread rate of these flames could be very, very quick if the winds kick it in the right direction. Right now, though, it almost seems like it's kind of pushing it away from the other vegetation back onto itself, meaning that the winds are pushing these flames onto an area that's already burned. And as long as that's going on, firefighters, they have something in their corner. But you can see what they were dealing with. A lot of homes out here and a lot of active fire. Very, very close.
Well, thank goodness. Obviously, our firefighters know what they're doing, and they can strategically tell from the way the winds are blowing and the direction that the fire is blowing, what the terrain is out there. So apparently they know that this fire is going to burn back onto itself, and sort of, you could see a bit of dissipation, not a lot, or not enough, I would say, to say the threat was over, but I've certainly seen some progress since we've been on this picture, Stu.
Oh, most definitely. The flames are starting to wane, as it would be, slowing down. But all these hot embers, that's going to be something that they're going to be very concerned about. And the winds this evening just made it just a bad situation. The firefighters, they did get that one tree out there on Amberwood, so those embers blowing into the neighborhood right now, they've got that under control. That's it. Maybe, well, just as soon as I say it, you can see a couple of them still going down there. Mm-hmm. But you can see how much wind is blowing down there. It is howling. They're saying 26 to 30, but it does definitely seem like maybe just because of the situation with the fire nearby or the smoke, it definitely seems like it's blowing a lot harder than that.
Stu, can you have Brendan go down the street a bit so we can see the activity? Okay.
Meaning, which direction down the way it's going, the way that it could move to? Way out there, that's going to be a cement plant. So anybody knows that type of area, there won't be a lot of vegetation out there, but that's a cement plant. That'll be a little bit farther down the roadway. And but there's quite a bit between those two spots as far as vegetation. You know, those dozers, they're going to try to cut that line. They're going to try to keep that area safe and try to keep that vegetation from catching fire in that area.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen here, Stu, is that it's going to burn itself out before the dozer even finishes his line. I mean,
but look at the progress they've made.
Oh, without a doubt.
Terrific.
Without a doubt, yeah. It's one dozer down there. There's just not a lot to burn in what is de facto a concrete batch plant. And you can't get the fire engines in there because it's dirt, it's soft terrain. So they really don't have the option of taking, an engine strike team in there. So they just have to do structure protection and keep an eye on it.
And they're putting a lot of dirt on it, that's for sure. Stu, I think they wanted you to go where that house was, below that home, where that fire, that palm frond was burning and throwing out embers.
That's going to be at the corner of Emberwood and Riverside Drive. That's right there. You can see that they really, really knocked that down. I don't know if we have actually tape from earlier on, but when we first arrived here, that was extremely active, and these rooftops were basically covered. What you see right there, but many times over. And there was just so much activity right there. Right now, this neighborhood, they've got structure protection set up. You've got some law enforcement ready to do evacuations if need be. But as it stands, we haven't seen any of the homes or any of the vegetation around the homes catch fire. You
know what's interesting to me is the fact that we have had firefighters come in from from all over to help us with the Woolsey fire. And so here we're looking at San Bernardino, and I'm sure some of those firefighters were here and were in Ventura County and LA County helping out.
Right.
But I guess there are just enough there to really help in getting this fire under control, or at least protecting those homes there. But I bet they could have been involved with fighting the Woolsey fire, and my goodness, they've just been stretched to the limit. Now, what is that, Stu?
Well,
What's burning there?
Well, this is actually a grass lot that's in the area. We saw this earlier on when we first arrived out here. There's actually, we believe that there's a fence separating the actual street from actually our live truck that's down there right now. So they might not be able to really see that. They'll probably see the glow. You can see the flashlight moving around down there. But it gives you an idea how quickly this stuff moves, and you can see that it's basically just grass in an empty lot. And it's just moving along down there. The embers just blowing across, and then you can see the smoke. But nothing, it hasn't really been catching on to the grass out there. The prawns itself, they have now pretty much knocked most of that down. So it seems as though the firefight in this neighborhood, the firefighters definitely getting an upper hand on it, and you can see the number of resources they have out here. That little spot, though, of course, the winds kick it up, and then it'll really start to flare up. And again, look at the winds. Look at how strong how quickly that smoke and those embers, once they get caught in that wind, just whip across.
Yeah.
And so
There it
they're
goes.
just moving along down there.
We could tell by that tree how it's bending, and yeah, we're actually seeing those embers fly.
Just moving across this neighborhood,
And yet,
but they do seem to put themselves out as they're making their way into that neighborhood. But then every now and then there's just that one that just keeps going and going and going, and it only needs one. We've heard them so often, the firefighters talking about the houses that they lost out the Woolsey fire. They're talking about a couple of embers getting underneath those eaves, and there's a huge problem. So even if the fire is out, I'm sure the firefighters are going to stay around for quite a while just to make sure nothing is going to catch fire.
Yeah, but
later.
Stu, if you go down onto where that fire is, where those embers are, what I'm missing here is I'm not seeing any water trained on those. So it seems to me that if the fire department, if the San Bernardino Fire Department was concerned about this spreading, they'd get some water on that fast, but they're not.
Well, the
Well, I'm
people
sure
aren't
they are
moving so
concerned
fast
about
either,
it.
so they don't seem to be that
Yeah.
concerned. If those are our workers
They're-
down there,
you know,
Stu.
Yeah, those are our guys down there. That's
Yeah.
going to be one of our live trucks. There is definitely a fence between that spot and where the firefighters are. There's also some damage. It looks like maybe that they have knocked part of that fence down and they've already looked in there. But the firefighters, yeah, you're right. I'm not sure what their thinking is right now, why they're not putting water on it. They have a couple hose lines drawn. You can see them right there, but they're basically using those for structure protection. So maybe they don't know that there's a real hot spot so close by.
Yeah,
but all they need is a couple of those embers. But, you know, on the other side, all they need is to get a firefighter over there with some water and try to put that out.
Well, and also, when you start training a lot of water and a high pressure onto a fire like that, you also risk kicking the embers up. So they may just be making the determination that that fire is only a couple of feet high, and if they keep an eye on it, and they've got the structure protection to the south of it, they're content to just let it burn itself out. And that might be the better part of wisdom.
Well, they're trained to do just that.
That's right.
Yeah.
To make those kinds of decisions and those kinds of adjustments if they need to. Hey, Stu, can we get Brenda to give us another shot of that the huge fire that's burning out there by Lytle Creek? Just want to see how that's doing right now.
Well, it's still moving along out there, and there's a lot of vegetation. You know, it's lighting it up, so that means it's heating it up as well. So you can see all that vegetation next to it. And that's pretty much what was out here earlier on. So there was a lot to burn, and with we know that. It's with that winds, it just kind of superheats the vegetation in front of it, and it just makes this huge firestorm. We saw this thing from 26 miles away, and we could clearly make out what it was. It was this fire just moving along along this along the flatlands out here, and we knew we were listening. We knew there were homes nearby, but they were talking about structure protection. But when we got out here, we saw that there were no homes actually damaged. That neighborhood still sits right there, and you can see what is burned right next to it. So a lot of these folks very lucky this evening, but this firefight in their backyard or front yard, as it would be, still very active and ongoing.
Okay, if you could hold on for a second, Stu, we're going to bring in our Garth Kemp to give us another check on the winds out there in that area. Garth?
Yeah, well, we're still tracking around at the surface 14-mile-an-hour winds with gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour that kind of happen through the area right there. The humidity better than what we've seen recovery-wise. So we're starting to see back up into the low 20s. That's certainly not where we should be, but it's certainly better than we have been, which was negative dew points and very low humidity out through the area. So we're starting to bring it up right now. Like I said, surface winds in the area I've been checking from Rialto, Devore, San Bernardino, Riverside County area still at around 14 miles an hour. Let me give you a look at them. You can see what's going on. These are the sustained winds right now at the surface. So you'll see areas around these reporting stations. You can follow the smoke. It is moving, but it's not howling. So that's a good thing. We've no wind advisories out towards the area right now or high wind warnings. We do have obviously red flag warnings. So there you go. You can track by early tomorrow morning. These are the gusts. So these aren't the sustained. These are the gusts right around Fontana. Always a wind tunnel over there by the 10, 20 miles an hour. Those will be some of the gusts as we move through tomorrow. And we'll hold there through the early part of the morning before we start to ease off. And you can see we're coming to the end of this event as far as the strong winds have come. And then we're going to start to see a shift in the direction of the winds as we start to get Thursday, even more so into Friday, that will take us all back on shore. That's what we're waiting. There's the move. Thursday evening, we start to turn onshore in through Thursday night, Friday, and then we'll start to increase that, which will produce quite a bit of marine layer from Friday, Saturday, Sunday in through next week. That obviously gets the humidity back up. We're already seeing the humidity in Ventura County where the fires have been going on up there over by Oxnard towards the coastal plain, Point Hueneme over to that area, up at 60, 65%, which is amazing. There are the wind advisories that remain throughout the area. That's LA Ventura County valleys, also the Santa Monica Mountain Range, Santa Clarita, LA Ventura County mountains. They stay online through 3 o'clock. We had earlier ones, part of them coming off at 10 o'clock, but now we've paired them up. So just about 3 o'clock. There's the red flag warnings that continue on. Dangerously low humidity. They continue on through 5 o'clock tomorrow, off to the east as well. If you're wondering about the clouds, that's the leading edge of that front to the north of us in that low pressure area that will turn our weather around. There's a look at the temperatures over the next days, and you can see as we head out to the extended, we go below normal. Lots of overcast coming our way as well. As we get towards Thanksgiving, we're still trying to track rain. The models are all over the place. 10% chance right now. We'll see on the extended what happens as we get to next weekend. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Garth. Well, we are looking at a picture from the ground, it appears, for the first time in Rialto, and our Nicole Comstock is there live. Nicole?
Yeah, Pat, I'm pretty sure you can hear us now. We just got over to this area off Riverside Avenue near Amberwood, where Stu was talking about that house that had the embers come from the palm tree onto the roof a little bit earlier. And you can see that the fire department right now is working on taking apart this fence that actually caught fire here on Riverside Avenue and bringing in a hose line right now to try to put this out so that these embers that are still burning up this fence do not continue traveling down to the houses behind it here. And you can see the kind of erratic wind that they're dealing with at this moment. It's been like this pretty much all throughout the evening tonight, and you can see that he's just going here through this backyard and putting out the dry brush in this backyard that started catching fire behind this fence tonight. And a second firefighter on scene right now. If you look back through this backyard a little bit, you can see that the flames have picked up on brush a little bit farther behind that too, which is closer to another home. And again, you can see those embers just picking up off of this wind right now. You can see a second fire hose behind that shooting up into the air, trying to protect other homes that are here off of what I think is Amberwood Court here in Rialto.
You're on Amberwood. Nicole, you're on Amberwood?
Yeah, Amberwood is just over to the left of us, so we're on Riverside Avenue and Amberwood Court. So this is really the spot directly across from the Lytle Creek area that was burning with all that dry brush, where it hopped the road here and then started going over and burning this fence and going toward these homes. But firefighters on scene tell us so far it still appears there is no damage to the houses here. save for a couple of these backyards that caught fire. And you can see that the Rialto Fire Department and some CAL FIRE firefighters are on scene right now, doing the best job that they can to wet down this backyard to prevent the fire from spreading any further. But so far it looks like they have the embers that moved from that palm tree over on Amberwood Court put out on top of that roof right now. And so they're just going over to these hot spots and doing the best job they can in these winds out here right now.
Okay, we're looking at a hot spot right there, Nicole. Oh, I see now that water is reaching. Yeah. Wow, there we go.
Yeah, they're really working this from multiple angles here right now. So they have some fire engines out here and then crews on the ground in people's backyards, making sure that they don't let these embers continue getting closer and closer to these houses. And the Rialto Police Department also told us that they've evacuated pretty much everyone over here in this neighborhood, which meant they really had a matter of 10 or 20 minutes to go door to door and let people know that they needed to get out. Not necessarily because any of the houses were catching fire, but because the wind is gusting so strong out here that they were seeing all the embers move across the street, and they wanted to make sure, especially with the fires we have going on in LA and Ventura County over the weekend and continuing on into this week, they don't want to see anything like this happening here. But it's definitely been a possibility all week long. We've known about these Santa Ana winds that were supposed to have wind advisories from Monday afternoon all the way until tomorrow evening. So at first we were hearing these winds might die down this evening, but then yesterday they extended that Santa Ana wind advisory until tomorrow evening, and you can see why they really did pick up again out here and create a lot of problems out here in this neighborhood in Rialto.
All right, we could certainly tell the winds are just incredibly high, Nicole. It's almost difficult at times to hear you speak because the winds are so strong.
San Bernardino Fire, San Bernardino Fire Department doing structure protection, saving yards, not going in and, as Pat, as you pointed out, and attacking the fire inside the quarry, inside the riverbed, being content to try to let that die down while they're protecting all the homes.
That's right, and Rialto Fire Department also
in
out there as well. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more coverage of the Sierra Fire.
Sierra Fire,
that's what we have named it, out in Rialto. Stay with us.